Today I'm going to discuss one of the most foundational and sacred structures in all of Torah, the divine name, the Tetragrammaton, spelled Yud, Heh, Vav, Heh, or numerically 10-5-6-5. Before we begin, we must first clarify a widespread misunderstanding. Many people approach the four-letter name of God, the Yud, Heh, Vav, Heh, as if it was simply a name in the conventional sense, something you can actually pronounce like Bob or Frank. But in Judaism and Torah tradition, this is not a name in that way. It is not something you say. It is not a person's name. It is something you contemplate, something you decode. It's the structure of all reality. And thus, the Tetragrammaton, the four-letter name, is not meant to be vocalized. All of the teachings out there about the name of God that attempt to pronounce it with the sound of a yah that ends with a way or an u'ah are just showing off their profound ignorance, revealing their total lack of understanding of the Torah, as well as showing a disrespect to the name of God itself. I strongly recommend you distance yourself from that ideology and not engage in such disrespectful spectacles regarding the careless misuse of the sacred name of Hashem. As the Torah plainly warns us all when it states in Exodus 20, "You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God, for Hashem will not hold anyone guiltless who misuses his name." In Kabbalistic thought, Hashem, which simply means in Hebrew the name, the concept of God, is not a being among beings. God is not a thing at all. The infinite, or Ein Sof, is literally without end. It cannot be pictured, defined, or named. You cannot name the source of all names. You cannot label that which precedes language itself. By pronouncing the name or attempting to name something or someone, you are trying to assert authority or ownership over that thing. And Hashem is not a thing that it can be named at all, let alone a name that people think they can casually pronounce. So what then is the purpose of this divine name? It is not a label. It is a divine code, a diagram, a pattern, an equation. It reveals the structure of how the infinite Ein Sof flows into the finite, how the formless gives rise to form. Yud, Heh, Vav, Heh, or numerically 10-5-6-5, is the blueprint by which Hashem reveals himself in reality. It is not his essence, but his interface, his unfolding into time, space, and soul. The sages teach that this name is the fabric of creation, that all reality, every law of nature, every breath, every word of Torah, flows through its channels. It is the secret of being, condensed into 4 letters as a code. So in this teaching, I'm going to break that structure down. We're going to understand what each part means and how it represents a stage in the divine process, from the initial spark of wisdom to the structure of understanding, to the channel of expression, and finally to manifestation in the world we live in. This teaching isn't just theology, it's consciousness training. It's contemplation and meditation, because the more you understand the name, the more you align with its pattern, the more your own life, your own mind, and your own speech will reflect something divine. And this is sanctifying the divine name as opposed to attempting to casually pronounce it, which is vanity. This name isn't just a label, it is a framework, a code, a map of how the infinite expresses itself into the finite. It contains within it the entire process of divine emanation, how something beyond time, space, and form can manifest a world that operates within them. Now let's explore this structure one stage at a time. Stage 1, the letter Yud, which is also the number 10. The letter Yud has a numerical value, or gematria in Hebrew, of the number 10. In Kabbalah, this represents the point of origin, the concealed spark of divine intention. It is the smallest letter in the Hebrew alphabet, almost just a dot, but within that dot is the totality of all that will unfold in reality. This stage corresponds to Chochmah, which means wisdom, not wisdom in the sense of accumulated knowledge, but the raw, undefined flash of insight. It is preconceptual, nothing is yet formed, but everything is already there in potential. The number 10 also represents the 10 Sephirot, the full spectrum of divine emanations. But here they are still compressed into a singular, undifferentiated unity. In contemplation, we should reflect on the concept of a single divine point, the source of all before anything is known or shaped. This is reflecting on the letter Yud. Stage 2 is the letter Heh, which is also the number 5. The first Heh has the value of 5 in Hebrew gematria. This is the expansion of the point into space. It corresponds to Bina, which means understanding. Here, the flash of insight is developed. The idea becomes defined, structured, and communicated. The shape of the letter Heh is open, indicating spaciousness, and also the concept of a vessel. The Heh receives what is hidden in the Yud and begins to shape it. The number 5 is also associated with the 5 levels of the soul and with the 5 fingers of the hand, both symbols of structured expression. In contemplation, we should reflect on the unfolding of a formless insight into a conceptual framework. The formless is becoming formed. Stage 3 is the letter Vav, which is also the number 6. The Vav has a value of 6 in Hebrew gematria. In letter form, it is a vertical line, a connector. In function, it represents the channel through which higher consciousness flows into action. And this corresponds to the Zeir Anpin, which is the configuration of the 6 emotional aspects of the Sephirot. The first being Chesed, kindness, Gevura, discipline, Tiferet, beauty, Netzach, endurance, Hod, humility, and then Yesod, foundation. The Vav is the bridge from abstract intellect to lived reality. It transmits the idea and structure downward, preparing it for manifestation. In contemplation, we should reflect on the line between cause and effect, between knowing and doing. This is the path from idea to implementation. Stage 4 is the letter Heh, which is the number 5. The final Heh is once again the number 5 in gematria. But unlike the first Heh, which represented understanding, this Heh represents Malchut, kingship, the vessel of actualization. This is where the entire flow lands. It is the receiver of all that came before. In the language of the Sephirot, Malchut has no light of its own. It simply reflects what it has received, but that reflection is essential. Without Malchut, nothing becomes real. Without Malchut, the process remains theoretical. This is where the divine idea enters the world. It is the human realm, the world of speech, action, and manifestation. In contemplation, we should reflect on receptivity, on how everything you manifest is a reflection of what you've received and channeled. As I've very briefly explained, we see that the divine name is actually a complete system. Yud, Heh, Vav, Heh, 10, 5, 6, 5, a divine code of reality, which happens to be the same sequence as human DNA. This 10, 5, 6, 5 code is the structure of divine manifestation, from essence to expansion, from expansion to channel, from channel to expression. It is not just a code name, it is a process that repeats within you, within all of us, in every thought, every intention, every action. The more you contemplate this structure, the more you begin to see it not only in the divine realm, in the supernal worlds above, but within your own soul, within nature, and within all systems that move from idea to action. You see it in all reality. Like Neo being able to see the matrix code, the computer code behind the matrix. This Yud Heh Vav Heh 10, 5, 6, 5 is the name that creates the worlds, and this is the pattern you are called to align yourself with, so that your own thoughts, words, and deeds reflect something higher. Therefore, let us strive to sanctify Hashem in our lives, in all of our thoughts, words, and deeds. Thank you for watching. This has been a presentation of Avraham Eminer. The views expressed here are mine alone and are not meant to be an authoritative representation of any one religious tradition.